One anonymous person? Check. Microphone? Check. No filter? Check. What do you get when you take one anonymous person, a microphone, and no filter? You get the World Unfiltered Podcast. And that is what this is, a podcast where an anonymous person takes a microphone, and guess what? That person doesn't have any filter. He doesn't have to worry about, oh, I've got to talk about this in a certain way because this could offend this person. This could offend that person. Oh, I can only talk about this subject. No, he can turn on the microphone and talk about whatever he wants, whenever he wants, with or without offense to friend or foe. We're going to talk about the world exactly as it goes. And when we say talk about the world, that means I can talk literally about anything. If I want to talk about UFOs, I can. If I want to talk about the chupacabra, I can. If I want to talk about something serious going on in the news, I can. If I want to talk about a latest album, a movie, television show, if I want to talk about the current storyline with the bloodline and the WWE, I can. I literally can talk about anything whenever I want, and there's no filter. I don't have to be like, this is the only subject I can talk about. No, we're going to burn that down. All those things they tell you should or shouldn't do in a podcast, we're not going to follow that. I'm not going to follow that. Well, if you're listening, we are not going to follow that. Whoever the we, the I'm the anonymous person with the microphone who doesn't have a filter. And you are the person who will either decide to listen or not to listen. You will either love it or you will hate it. But I think we can always make it interesting. I think that we can always make it fun because this is the debut episode of the World Unfiltered Podcast, where we're going to talk about the world and not worry about all of those rules. Now, I don't know if that sounds like a great idea. It may sound like an absolutely bad idea. And you know what? It may be a bad idea. I'm more than aware that my idea, it's not the way you're supposed to do so. In fact, if you just do a search on the internet about how to start a podcast and find articles that will tell you everything you need to know to succeed in your podcast endeavor, they're going to give you the template. They're going to give you here's what you are supposed to do. And I'm going to try to break every single one of those rules. All right. So I need to know what makes a good podcast. What makes a good podcast? Well, what actually makes a good podcast? Who gets to determine what makes a good podcast? Do I go listen to what everyone else tells me makes a good podcast? They will tell you to do this and tell you to do that and tell you to do this and speak this way and don't. And I don't, you know what? I don't care what makes a good podcast. I don't care. What I know is what will make a good podcast is that when I'm done talking, I had fun. I think it was interesting. Now, obviously, you want the listener to like it, but I'm not going to worry about that. I can't worry about that. I'm not. So I'm not going to worry about what makes a good podcast. Set your goals. I don't have a goal. If I have goals, then I'll be disappointed when I don't meet them. Because even if I was to set goals, I guarantee you, I'm probably not going to meet them because I'm not following the rules. I'm burning down the entire template. I'm saying, forget it. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be the podcast for conservatives or for liberals. I'm not going to be the podcast for this team or that team. I'm not following anybody's filter. And so someone is not going to like it. So if I set goals, trying to do things in such a radical way is probably not going to be very successful. Choose your topic. You know what? I'm not going to have one topic. That's the thing. I don't want to be handcuffed to it. You're the paranormal podcast. You're the politics. You're the sex talk. You're the books podcast. You're the music podcast. You're the video game podcast. You're the comic book. No. I am the everything podcast. The world is my topic. If it's happening in the world, I'm going to talk about it. Literally, it could be anything. And yet, I'm not going to worry about all of these other things. Define your target audience. Well, can you hear? Then you're my target audience. Can you hear? Now, do you want to hear someone talk about things that look, it's got to be people who are willing to be, maybe you don't like what I have to say. There's going to be times I'm going to talk about things and you're going to strongly disagree. Can you handle that? I know that's a radical concept in 2024 because everyone's got to run to their little place and go, I can only listen to people I agree with. I can only listen to people. No, I'm hoping there's someone out there who's willing, like, I don't always agree, but you know what? It's kind of fun to hear it all play out. It may be a train wreck most of the time. Name your podcast. Okay, I did do that. Ladies and gentlemen, I followed one of the rules. Well, because I have to. Because if I don't give it a name, your podcast hosting site says you need a name. World Unfiltered. Is that name work? I don't know if it works. But I know it captures the idea. We're going to talk about the world in an unfiltered way, meaning I'm not following some, presupposed idea of what I'm supposed to talk about and how I'm supposed to talk about it. Pick your show format. Well, do I have a format? I know this. I'm not doing like, hey, my name's Robert and I'm Bob and together. And then you have that kind of like the co-host and host and no, not doing that. Not doing interviews. Not doing it. No interviews. Nope. I'm blowing that whole template up. It's one person, an anonymous person sitting in front of a microphone talking about the world in an unfiltered way. There's got to be someone out there that's got to be refreshing in 2024, right? Determining your average episode length. No, I'm not going to determine the average episode length. This is not radio. I'm not controlled by commercial breaks and, program slots. I'll talk as long as I want. And when I'm done, I will be done. Okay. If I want to turn on the microphone, this anonymous person, and say, hey, that new song by Ariana Grande, thumbs up. It's great. It's amazing. Or, I'm not so sure. Like whatever I want to say. Hey, people, shut up complaining about Taylor Swift on your television for a few minutes. Get over yourself, right? Hey, the All-Star game. Can we just say, let's forget that garbage because that was trash and just want to go on a 5-minute rant? I'll go on a 5-minute rant. If I want to go on a 45-minute, if I want to just say, hey, you ever been depressed? You ever been discouraged? And then be more serious. Look, there's no format. I may want to be funny. I may want to be serious. I may want to be ultra dramatic. I may want to be somber. Hey, I don't know about you, but this anonymous person it's not AI. It's a human being. And guess what? I feel different things at different times. So why not just express that instead of putting on a performance? Script your show. Absolutely the heck not. I'm not going to script a stinking thing. I'm not going to write out my intro. I'm not going to write out my conclusion. I'm not going to write out anything. I'm just going to talk. Now, there may be some times where I try to formulate some ideas, maybe, but I'm not going to try to script it. Get equipped. I guess I'm equipped. I got a microphone. All right, I got a microphone. Select your podcast music. Well, I don't know if that's what we're going to go with all full time, but currently, just because I've already paid for this for other podcasts, I'm going to use this. Someone's going to say, that's too long. You're probably right. So maybe we'll find something else. We got to give it some time, right? So that's what we're starting off with, right? So we've got some cover art. Okay, we've got that going with the glasses and kind of like looking at the world from kind of an unfiltered, contrast. I think that works. Invite podcast guest. Not happening. There's not going to be a guest because this is an anonymous podcast someone who you don't know in front of a microphone talking about the world. I don't need a guest to help me out. I don't need that. I may need a guest sometimes when I'm saying words and I don't know how to pronounce them. Maybe I will, but you know what? You're not going to get that. No. One person with a microphone. What else do we have here? Find a place to record. Check. Got that. Use the right microphone techniques. Okay. Maybe I will use the right ones. Maybe I won't. Maybe sometime I'll be so up on the microphone like this and okay. I don't know. Maybe I'll be way back. Who knows? Maybe I will use the right one. Maybe I won't. I don't know. I'm not going to worry about it. I don't want it overly produced. I don't want it to be, I want it to be unfiltered. Like, a photograph. You can put all the filters on a photograph and make yourself look something that you're not. This is going to be not that way. This is going to be, hey, this is what you get. This is a person with a microphone sitting in a room talking about the world in an unfiltered way. Deal with it. Like it's going to be like, yeah, it doesn't always look great. Doesn't always sound great, but it's going to be what it is. Record remote guest or co-host. No co-host, no guest. Work with editing software. There's not going to be any editing software because I'm not going to edit a stinking thing. There will be no edits. No, if I do edit something, I will tell you, right? If I'm talking and I'm sitting here drinking something and like, I have to swallow weird and you get some weird sound, I may like, what, that was at the 12-minute mark? Okay, maybe I'll go edit that out. I'll try to tell you if I do that, but I'm going to try not to edit one stinking thing. That's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try. Choose a podcast hosting site. Okay, we got that down. All right. Create a website. Well, not right. Nope. Sorry, not happening right now. No website. Okay. Write a description for your podcast. Okay. Title your episodes. Okay, maybe we'll do that. Submit your show to podcast directories. Definitely need to do that. Implement a podcast marketing strategy. Well, I don't know if I'm going to have a marketing strategy because marketing strategy implies that I have money in order to market it. I have no money to market it. Okay. I need money. I don't have any money to market it. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull that off. Keep people listening. Well, see, I bet I don't want to have to try to keep you listening. I don't want to, wait, where are you going? Please come back. No. I'm just going to be like, well, see ya. Like there's nothing I can do. Monetize. Oh, I'm going to monetize the heck out of this, baby. If I can. I hope I can monetize it. That would be great. Like a podcast where you can talk about the world in an unfiltered way and actually it works. I don't know, but we will see. Publish new content on a regular basis. Oh, there will be no problem with that. I'm an anonymous person with a microphone, and I've got plenty to say about literally anything and everything. Will it be funny? Maybe. Will it be engaging? Hopefully. Will it always be interesting and there'll be a wide variety? Yes. Will I always approach things from the same perspective? Probably never. Sometimes you're going to be like, oh, I agree. And then 5 minutes later, you're like, what is he talking about? He's an idiot. And then you're going to be like, oh, wow, I love that take. And then you're not. Oh, and you're never going to know. It could go from B movies to current series on Netflix to it could be philosophy. It could be anything. It could be political, non-political. It could be any, there's literally going to be there's just going to be content that's going to be consistently coming at you if you keep your notifications on. All right. And then it says, then it breaks down into this about how to break it all down. The point is that's a typical template that they give you. I don't have. That's what I'm doing with it. I don't need it. I probably do. I take that back. I probably do need it because if you want to be successful, remember this said, everything you need to do to succeed. I'm going to be the unsuccessful anonymous podcaster, but we're going to talk about the world in an unfiltered way. Now, I hope this beginning step is the first step to what's going to be a wild and crazy ride. It's February the 20th, 2024 at 2:56 p.m. And I'm coming to you from, an undisclosed location, anonymous person, undisclosed location, talking about the world in an unfiltered way. Don't you have to build your podcast over personality? You got to have the right person with the right look and the right sound. I'm going to try to go away with all of that. None of that. I don't know if it's going to work. In fact, I have a high probability that it's not. Now, you can send me all of your suggestions if you want. You can email me at news, the letters IF, news as if I care, newsif at yahoo.com, newsif at yahoo.com. And you can say, I heard the first episode. I'm not so sure you're onto anything. In fact, maybe the dumbest idea I've ever heard, but it's probably going to be such an epic train wreck that I'm going to watch it crash. And then I'm going to watch it burn, and I'm going to laugh while I eat popcorn. You can do that. Because you're right. There's a high probability it's not going to work. But there's got to be, does everything have to look the same and sound the same? Does everything have to be like this corporate, manufactured, filtered nonsense? Can we just get away from all of that? There's got to be room for that, right? Maybe. I don't know. We will see. So welcome, everyone, to the World Unfiltered, where I am going to talk about the world with or without offense to friend or foe. But I'm going to talk about the world, everything in it, at any given time. Sometimes you'll have no idea why I'm talking about a subject, and you may think it's a stupid subject. Other times you may be like, wow, haven't heard that. That's interesting. Sometimes we'll stumble upon something and we'll just keep pursuing that. That'll be a subject for a week, 2 weeks. Who knows? It could turn into a month-long pursuit. We don't know. There's no rules. There's no filter. We just have the world to talk about. Come on. That's got to sound fun, right? Come on. Tell me. It's got to sound fun. Maybe? Well, I hope you'll join me. I was going to say us, but there's no us here. Hope you'll join me, an anonymous person with a microphone, talking about the world. And hopefully you'll find it intriguing, interesting, and you'll keep listening.